Climate change is one of the most widely discussed issues of our time. It fills headlines, political speeches, and social curricula. We are told that the science is settled, the debate is over, and the only responsible course of action is to accept drastic, intermediate, and extremely costly policies aimed to reduce human impact on the environment. But today I want to stand before you to present a different perspective, a skeptical, careful, and critical look at the mainstream climate narrative. Not to deny climate change, but to reject science. But to argue that the issue is far more complex, far less certain, and far more open to debate than we often believe. Yes, the climate is changing. Yes, human activity plays a role. However, none of this automatically justifies the extreme predictions of the extreme policies that often accompany the conversation. Let's begin with climate projections. They are made using computer models, scientific tools that simulate how the Earth's climate might behave over time. These models are helpful, but they are not perfect. In fact, many past predictions overestimated the rate of warming, underestimated nature variability, or relied on assumptions that turned out to be inaccurate. Climate systems are incredibly complex. They are influenced by factors such as volcanic activity, ocean cycles, cloud formation, solar changes, and feedback loops. We still do not fully understand yet when we hear alarming predictions, sea levels swallowing cities, storms doubling in strength, or temperatures skyrocketing. We are rarely told how much uncertainty exists around those projections. Good science does not hide uncertainty, good science acknowledges it. The second point we must consider is the cost, not just in dollars but in human impact, of aggressive climate policies. Transitioning rapidly away from fossil fuels sounds appealing in theory. In practice, however, it risks raising energy prices, destabilizing power grids, and hurting working families. Electricity becomes more expensive. Transportation costs rise. In industries that rely on affordable energy, agriculture, manufacturing, shipping struggle to stay competitive. And while wealthy nations may absorb these costs, many developing countries cannot. Over 1 billion people around the world still lack reliable access to electricity. For them, fossil fuels are not a luxury. They are a lifeline. They power hospitals, schools, factories, and clean drinking water systems. Demanding these nations abandon affordable energy sources in the name of climate responsibility can slow development and trap people in poverty. We often hear about the dangers of climate change, but we rarely hear about the dangers of energy poverty. Yet, for many communities, energy poverty poses the more imminent threat. Another problem with the mainstream narrative is the assumption that only government mandates and regulations can protect the planet. But history tells a different story. Technological invention, not regulation, has driven many of the greatest environmental improvements in modern history. Cleaner natural gas has helped reduce emissions in the United States more than many climate policies have. Advances in nuclear energy offer the promise of carbon-free power at scale. Carbon capture technology, improved battery storage, and more efficient energy engines continue to emerge. When people, companies, and inventors have the freedom to innovate, they often find solutions that are more effective, more affordable, and more sustainable than government-mandated changes. If we want long-term progress, we should promote innovation and competition, not rely solely on bans, restrictions, and political mandates. Finally, we must talk about the the climate conversation itself. Too often, it has become hostile and intolerant of differing viewpoints. Instead of engaging skeptics with evidence, critics often label them as deniers. Instead of discussing uncertainties, some activities present their conclusions as absolute truth. Instead of acknowledging trade offs, some policymakers pretend that extreme proposals have no downside. This is not how science works. This is how democracy works. And this is certainly not how we solve complex global issues. True progress requires open dialogue, welcoming dissent, questioning assumptions, and allowing space for new ideas. When debate is shut down, mistakes go unchallenged, and when mistakes go unchallenged, policies can become harmful. So, what am I arguing for today? Not for ignoring climate change, not for dismissing science, not for pretending the issue does not matter. What I'm arguing for is balance. A balanced understanding of significant uncertainty, a balanced evaluation of economic costs, a balanced approach that values innovation over alarmism, a balanced conversation where disagreements is allowed and even encouraged. Climate change is real, but so is the need for reliable energy, economic stability, and open debate. We cannot afford to sacrifice one for the other. If we want a future that is both environmentally responsible and economically strong, we must approach climate change not with fear but with reason, humility, and critical thinking. Thank you.